So welcome everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the Talking Balls Snooker podcast. A weekly podcast comes out every Wednesday. I'm Michael Wright, Right Host 74, your host, and my co-host, just to say hello, is Lee.
Hi everyone. Hi Martin. It's good to have you on board.
Hi Lee. Yeah, no problem, mate. Good to be here.
Our guest today is Martin O'Donnell. So Martin, as Lee's brought you in there, but yeah, thanks a lot for coming in, and looking forward to getting to know you a bit more.
No trouble, mate. No trouble. Anytime. Cheers,
Martin. I know you've been busy. You've obviously, you've moved house recently. You've got a young'un in the clan now as well, and certainly when we started doing these podcasts, it was in pre-season. But obviously, we now get the chance to talk to you a few events in terms of this new 21-22 season. So just be interesting to get your take on, looking back, how you found it so far, really.
Yeah, it's obviously it's been a bit of a slow start the season. Started a bit later than we anticipated. And we're still suffering really from coronavirus, and we've still lost quite a lot of tournaments this year. So it's only really been small events at the minute. But it was a busy time for me in the off season. I just moved house just before the start. So I had about 3 weeks off with that, just before the start of the season, and it kind of showed in Championship League. I wasn't in tip-top shape there, but listen, it's not how you start the season. It's how you progress as you go through it, and you build up to the big one at the end. So we all want to get off to a good start, but I kind of knew, I had it in the back of my mind, it might be a bit of a slow start for me, but I'm doing all right now. I'm starting to get up to speed last couple of weeks.
And I suppose a lot of the players, Martin, they're in the same boat as you. Everybody's sort of easing themselves back in gently. It's going to be hard to, come out flying, if you like.
Yes and no. I think the top players do that quite a lot. But they all practice a bit more than that they make out as well in the off season. But to be honest, my take on a lot of the tour now is it's become a lot more professional. And I don't think people take as much time off as they let on, which you can see. There's obviously a few players you can see that are not sharp, come Championship League. But, at the British Open, a lot of people were in pretty good nick. And so that just goes to show you that, people have put 6 to 8 weeks, probably hard work in before the start.
Not to put the Championship League down in any way, but do you think people use the Championship League as a bit of practice for getting their season kick-started?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, it's in my opinion, that's not really the way to do it. Ideally, I'd be going there to try and progress as far as I can. It's a pretty good opportunity for lower ranked players to go quite far in the comp, with it being a short format. So the top boys, quite a few of them didn't enter it, but the ones that did would be using it as a bit of practice. So you could see, like Judd wasn't sharp at all, and things like that. But there was a few that were sharp. Mark Allen and that. Look how well he played. He wasn't a man he wasn't a man who looked like he had much time off after the Worlds. I can tell you that.
That's true.
And so do you notice that then, Martin? You said you had a good 3 weeks or so in pre-season where you really couldn't do anything in terms of practicing. Do you notice that in yourself, in your own, that rustiness? Do you feel that when you get back to a competition again?
Well, I did, because it was my second break. So after the Worlds, I had 3 to 4 weeks off then. Oh, sorry. My phone's wanting to move and do all sorts. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Right, okay, sorry. I had 3 or 4 weeks off after the World Championships. And when I came back, I actually wasn't too bad. I was still pretty sharp after the long season. And you put so much work in the season. If you take 3 or 4 weeks off after the World, you come back, you're going to be okay. So I had a couple of weeks in early June where I was playing and I wasn't feeling too bad. And then I moved, and I thought I would need maybe a week off or 10 days at most with the move, but it ended up being nearly 3 weeks. And I did notice it a lot that time, because 3 to 4 weeks off, then I had a couple of weeks practice, then another 3 to 4 weeks off. It was too much. But you know, listen, it's not something I would normally do, so I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm just crack on now.
Yeah. And we've recently had the British Open, Martin. You had a good win first round against Gerard Green, and then Stephen Maguire got the better of you. How did you find the format, and did you enjoy the British Open being back?
Yeah, I enjoyed the British Open being back, but again, you know, I wasn't feeling myself. I wasn't feeling that confident. You know, I beat Gerard Green the first game. To be fair, he'll probably be a bit disappointed he didn't beat me. But you know, at 2 each, I just, you know, pulled out one of those mental sort of 4 or 5 red dish, you know, a few balls on the cushions and stuff. So yeah, he'd have been disappointed. And so yeah, it's probably difficult for me to gauge how the British Open was, because, you know, every frame felt like a pint of blood, and that's not how it should be.
Yeah, was that just down to the format?
A little bit of format, and a little bit, I wasn't really too confident in how I was playing.
Yeah.
So I was being a little bit too careful, and I can't afford to be like that. You know, I need to try and, you know, be a bit more decisive and playing, you know, and it cost me in the Maguire game. You know, I got lost somewhere halfway through the match, and started to try and be a bit too careful when I got my chances. And when that kind of happens, you don't take them, you know. Yeah. You just need to be fully focused and try and clear up, and, you know, play the next shot as it goes. So yeah. But to be honest with you, I took a lot of positives from it, because, you know, I should have beat him 3-1, and I felt like I only was, you know, playing C or D game. So
yeah, so you got more in the tank.
Yeah, there's plenty more in the tank. I thought, you know, that, but it kind of hurts as well, because you think, you know, if you're sharp there, you take care of him and you move on. You know, and you could have a deep run, but no, listen,
level, it's really fine margins, you know, between winning and losing. Yeah.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fine margins, and I couldn't beat myself up, because Gerard Green, you know, in the decider, he had it was one of them games where the Reds had just gone everywhere. They were just all over the table, and he managed to pot a good long red and get in, but you know, he just didn't keep control of the white. He was fighting, but, you know, kept landing awkwardly and pulling out a recovery shot, and then it happens quite a lot. I find when that kind of happens, and then he played a good shot and got himself nicely in, and then 3 shots later, I think he missed a routine black off the spot, because, you know, and that happens a fair bit when the balls are everywhere, because you think, right, okay, got myself into good position now, you know, I just got to mind my business, and then all of a sudden you took your eye off one, and
there must be so much pressure though the first round, you know, because obviously you don't get paid if you lose your first round. Am I right in saying that? So there's got to be a lot of pressure if you're in with a chance in the decider and you mess up.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure, you know, especially in the first rounds, you know, because like I say, you don't get paid if you don't get through, you know, and we've all got bills to pay and mortgages, but you can't really be thinking of the money when you know, you should be zoned in and just, it's, you know, it's another frame and it's another match to win. And if you know, if you pot the balls in front of you and you take care of what's in front of you, then, you know, money and all the rest of it, that will take care of itself, you know. It's not easy to put the money side out of it, but you've got to just concentrate on, you know, potting the next ball, getting position, you know, and not getting too carried away, you know, oh, look, there's 50 here, you know, I should be able to win from here, sort of thing. You know, you get them kind of thoughts, you know, which young players will probably get them through. You know, we've all had them sort of thoughts, you know, and all of a sudden on 16, you've missed one and, you know, you sat down watching the other guy pick up 3 or 4 grand. So,
true.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. And the first rounds are big because, you know, there's not a lot of difference in money between first and second rounds on the tour at the minute. You know, they did really well a few years ago by beefing up the first round winners' checks, which they needed to do. So I think the next phase in increasing prize money is to start building the second and third round matches, you know, building them up more and more, because, you know, it's not really right. You pay for 3 grand in your first game and then your second game's only worth another 1,000 or 1,500, you know.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you're going to be playing a harder match. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. But so So yeah, that's why there's a bit of pressure on him.
I suppose with the open draw as well with the British Open, I mean, again, that was interesting, wasn't it? Because you could easily come up against one of the top players. Equally, two of the top players come up against each other in the first round, and one of them goes home. That's it, job done.
Yeah, no, listen, it was a brilliant format. It's a brilliant format. I mean, it creates so much excitement in the draw. You just don't know who's going to draw who. The only caveat I would say to that is it can't hold such big ranking points. It can't hold such big money. I don't see how a tournament like that, personally, can be worth more money than a proper, like, Home Nations, where there's, it's best of sevens. Some of our best of nines, it's worth more money than the best of nines. So I don't, you can't have a best of five worth more than a best of nine, in my opinion. But at the same time, listen, it's great to have the tournament on the calendar. It's something different. It's, there's a lot of money to be won out there, so you can't grumble at that. But it's just, I know there's a bit of talk about ranking systems and stuff at the minute, and there is little things like that don't make too much sense. But you just got to try and win your matches, and hopefully you're on the right side of a good week.
I did wonder that, when, I don't know if you saw it, Martin, but when they kind of interviewed Gary Wilson at the end of the British Open, and it just lost to Mark Williams, and it had been a tight game, pretty much nick and tuck. And I don't, I'm sure it wasn't about money, especially straight after the game. I'm sure it was just pure disappointment that maybe came across in some of the responses. And we've had him on here, and he's quite harsh on himself sometimes if he's not done what he thinks he can do. But I do wonder whether, you say about the money there. I mean, I think he got 45k for coming runner-up. He would have got 100k for winning it. I mean, 55k difference on a couple of frames in front of the TV cameras on such a short format. You just wonder whether, I'm sure it wasn't prominent in his head, but he would have been disappointed to lose. But he also, yes, he either gains 45 or he lost 55, depending on your viewpoint. I mean, that was quite a big game, really, wasn't it?
Oh, it's a massive game. It's a massive game. If he wins that, he wins his maiden ranking title. He's buzzing. Then, it'd probably make the Players' Championship, if not the Tour Championship. He'd have a great chance of being in great stuff at the end of the season. So, obviously he'll be in the World Grand Prix, 45 grand. He's still got a good chance of being in the Players' Championship, unless the wheels fall off between now and then. So he'll still have that. But as a player, he'd have been going into that game just wanting to win. It wouldn't have been about the money.
No,
it just at that stage, because he's on 45 grand. So if you'd have said to him at the start of the tournament, look, you can have 45 grand here off this tournament, you'd snap your hand off, right?
It's a zero.
Yeah, everyone would snap your hand off. But when you're there, I've not been there, but I can imagine when you're there, you've got a nice payday anyway. So you're not thinking about the money. You're thinking, I just want that trophy. I want that first title, so bad. And
So
I think when you get to that stage, the money's not really. It wouldn't be it would be less in your mind, I think, at that stage than it is in the first round when you're trying to nick it, which is crazy in a way. But your 3s and your 5 grands is what you need to survive. Once you get to your 40s, and okay, you're going to be all right. So it's no longer about the money. It's about, right, I want to win this match. I want to win this title. So I could see, he was devastated, and I felt for him, because he played well.
So do you think, in a way, he's on a good wage for the week? Do you think, in a way, that would take a little bit of pressure off him for the final?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. There's no financial pressure there now. You know what I mean? You're on 45 grand off one tournament. Most pros on tour won't make 45 grand this season. So you've got to put it into perspective a little bit. So well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know his personal situation. Maybe he's massively in debt, but I wouldn't say so. No, Gary, right? So, the financial pressure wouldn't be there. Obviously, the 100 grand is lovely, but it's literally the pressure of just, you're in a final. He's playing one of the greats of the game. And how nice would it be to win your maiden ranking title against one of the absolute greats? So, I think your focus and the pressure turns. It wouldn't really be financial at that stage. It would just be more, he wants to win. He wants to get that title. He knows how good he is. He might, it's It's one of those like get the monkey off your back sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, he feels he should be winning tournaments. You know, he feels he's got the game too, and you know, you do as a player, you put a lot of pressure on yourself because you all know what you can do. You want in that good week to be your week. He's had a good week. He's in the final now. He wants to make it count because you don't know when you're going to get back to another final. There is that as well.
Yeah.
And going back to you, Martin, I mean, obviously, so the British Open was the second tournament. You had the Championship League, which we've already covered a little bit. I mean, again, it's short format, but really different, isn't it? You know, you've got 4 frames, you can draw matches. It's about trying to get out of the group. Your first one was Tepchire, I think, wasn't it? The 2-2.
No, that was my last game. There was, yeah, that was.
Oh, beg your pardon.
That was a dead rubber game. Yeah, Craig Steadman was my first game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should have cleared up in the first frame, and I didn't. And if I'd have pinched the first frame, I might have settled down and played all right that day. But it kind of never really worked. And you know, I was just there for the beating, really. To be honest with you, you know, I was there just to see where I was in my prep. I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. But yeah, you know, but I had great experience at the Championship League last year, you know, got through my first group, and, you know, you've got to get out the blocks, you know, play good, sensible snooker, you know, you've got to take the balls on when they're there. You've got to tuck up when it's not, you know, it's just match snooker, really. It's just about getting frames on the board. And, you know, if you're not going to win a match, make sure you don't lose a match.
Yeah.
Did you go? You called it the dead rubber. So it was 2-2 with Tepchire, wasn't it? So did you go? Not putting words in it, I have no idea. But did you go into that in a different frame of mind, knowing that it wasn't about you're not going to progress from the group? Did you go into that frame differently, that game differently?
No, I didn't actually. You know, because I could only finish last. It didn't matter if I'd have beaten 3-0, I'd have still finished last. So it was a disappointing day from that. And I knew that before I went out there, but I thought to myself, well, I haven't really shown anything today. Right. You know, I want to go out and get something from this game, something that I can take with me to the British Open, you know, just have a good experience in this game, try my hardest, you know, and stay honest as well. You know, it's not fair on the other lads who are doing well. I've been on the wrong side of that, where, you know, someone in the last place is sort of throwing the towel in, and it can cost you a little bit from getting through a group. That cost me last year. So I know what it's like to be on that side of things. So I just wanted to stay honest, to be honest with you. And I wanted to try and get something out of the game, you know, and I finished off with a 130. And I actually drove I thought, because I could have thrown the towel in easily the way I played that day. But I just, you know, in the end, I felt like I got something out of it, and I could move on to the British Open with, you know, a little bit of good feeling.
Yeah, and that says a lot. I mean, you know, it says a lot about you as a person, really, because obviously what we did see was some examples of almost pool breaks, didn't we? And all sorts of things going on there in the latter stages, which very unsnooker-like, if you like.
Yeah, you know, and listen, I would never say anything bad about people that do that. I can understand it. You know, when you've got nothing to play for, you're last, you can't finish anywhere. It's very frustrating. You know, you do just, you know, you want to get in your motor and go home and regroup and stuff. But I kind of wanted to play the longer game with it, with my season. I was determined to try and get something out of the day. So, you know, that's the frame of mind I was in. You know, who knows? Another day, you know, maybe I would have done something similar. I'd like to think I wouldn't, because that's generally not me. You know, I'd play hard and keep the group as honest as I can, really.
It made for a spectacle, didn't it? I think as a fan, it made for a lot of spectacle, especially the first event of the season, and seeing and listening to some of the players who you don't normally hear that much from in the commentary box. That was great. And obviously, and I think Peter Lyons was on the one where I can't remember the player who did this now, but did the Mark Williams break, but actually hit the black on the way through the reds. That's just golden. I mean, you wouldn't get that in somebody having tournaments, would you? It's brilliant.
No, I know. It's no, yeah. Listen, it's a great format. It's a great form, and I'll tell you what else is great about it. What people probably don't realise is that without the Championship League, the only time you ever get to play under them lights in front of cameras is probably against a top 8 player, right?
Right.
So you're not really used to the match table. You know, you're playing the top 8 player who's used to it all the time. It's hard work out there. I always say, you know, you're giving the top 8 player 14, 21 start out there.
Right.
Because you're not used to the conditions. You know, the table plays differently. You know, you make a mistake, bang, they go 80. You know what I mean? You don't. It's very rare that they don't perform, you know, or they might be a bit scratchy for a frame, but then they just click into gear. So Championship League, I think, is great for lower ranked players to get some time against other lower ranked players on the TV table where, you know, you're not just getting 80, 90 shoved up you every time you make a mistake. You know, you're actually getting a bit of table time out there, and you can become acclimatized and get comfortable out there. That's where I think it's quite beneficial.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Martin, because I've seen so many tournaments that you've got a very good player and they're playing the likes of Judd or Ronnie and they're getting beat 4-0. Yeah. And it's got to be just because it's a TV table, because these players are great players in their own right, but they're coming up against somebody that's so used to the table and the lights and the conditions that they're getting beat 4-0.
Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it's a totally different world because, you know, if you play on the outside tables, you know, they're pretty dull in comparison. You know, they're almost dark, you know, compared to like the TV table. Yeah. So you go out there, so all of a sudden the angles look different. You know, there's no shadows and, you know, on the balls, everything's shiny. You know, you can see everything brilliantly, which is great. So, you know, it then if you get through that match and you go back on the outside tables, it becomes a bit harder to adjust to them again. But, you know, the conditions, you know, and you don't have to do a lot wrong against a top 8 player. You really don't have to do much wrong.
Yeah.
To lose, you know, so you can get beat 4-0 and think, well, you know, I played sort of maybe 2 poorish shots, not poor, you know, maybe even semi-poor, you know, he's knocked in a great long red, you know. Oh, then you've had a chance, you've gone into the pack, not got on one, you know, you flicked one over the hole, you're in a world of trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things can happen. So I think for players to get that experience on the TV tables in Championship League, you know, where, you know, they're going to get a few more chances than they're used to. They can settle down a little bit and then get some good feeling on a match table.
Yeah.
That's got to stand everybody in good stead for when they go and play that top 8 in the next event live on TV. You know, you think, well, actually, you know, I played all right against him the other day. You know what I mean? I actually had 2 70s and a 50, so I can play well out here. Do you know what I mean? So
it goes back to what you're saying about the outside tables, Martin. You know, is it a bit duller? You know, more shadows in the balls, and
listen, it's the lights on the outside tables are probably, I don't know, 30% of what's on the TV table.
Right. And do you find that's harder to pick out the potting angle when you get onto a match, a TV table?
Yeah, it can be when you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Especially early doors, you know what I mean? If you can get off to a good start. You know, I've played on there quite a bit now, but so, you know, I'm used to it really. But like for young lads coming on the tour, who want to be on there and it all looks great, but, you know, they haven't got a lot of chance. You know, don't get me wrong. If they played the top 8 player on the outside table, it's still an uphill task to beat them. Okay, but because they're that good, they're the top 8 for a reason. You know, they're better than everyone else. But, you know, and that's where I don't like where commentators, you know, and they get on people's backs and they slag people off, and you think, well, you know, come on, some of you used to play 25, 30 years ago. You know, have you forgotten what it's like?
Yeah.
You know, so it's yeah. So yeah, I don't think people are very understanding of the situation sometimes.
Do they need to just put more 50p's in the box, in the meter and the outside tables? Is that the problem here? It's just a bit stinginess, isn't it?
No, it's not. Listen, you can't light every every table up like the I don't know if you've been to the live events, but you know, they're 2 massive lighting units. You couldn't have that on every table. You know, it lights up the room, but it makes the table, you know, you get a lot of heat from it, so it keeps the cloth even warmer than the outside table, so it keeps it drier. Table's more reactive, it's faster, you know. there's all these sorts of things. But yeah, I think people are getting more used to it because of Championship League and the shootout, stuff like that, where the table's super fast. You know, players are getting a lot more used to the TV table, which is great, because, you know, you do want to, especially with 1-2-8 flat draws in the first few rounds, you do want to see people putting up a fight against, you know, your Judd Trumps and your Selbys and your Ronnies, because, you know, you don't want them just to be beat because of conditions.
Yeah. And it's a different sport, but I wonder whether it's likened in any way to, you know, almost centre court at Wimbledon. So a rank outsider gets through to centre court to play Andy Murray or Rafa Nadal or whoever, and just the whole experience. You can either grow or you can shrink a bit, really, can't you, I guess?
Yeah, it's a lot like that. So, you know, it's a lot like that. The surroundings are completely different, you know, and it is sink or swim in them situations. And, you know, you do find out the men from the boys. But, you know, very few players have taken to TV straight away. You know, obviously a few of the geniuses have, you know, like your Ronnies and Hendry and people, Higgins, you know, the absolute greats of the game, you know, they all took to TV pretty quickly. But generally speaking, people don't take to the TV table all that quickly. You know, they do need a good half a dozen, 10 times on it before they start feeling comfortable out there. So yeah, it would be very similar to the centre court situation, I suppose.
Yeah, and I guess at the British Open you also had the fans back as well. So again, another dynamic which a lot of players have probably missed over the last year or two with everything that we've had going on.
Yeah, I think you don't realise how much you miss them until they come back, actually. And it adds a lot to the game. Adds a lot to the game. You know, last season, not many people were twitching, I've got to be honest, you know.
Right.
I played a lot of games where there was no one was bulking under pressure, really. You know what I mean? All of a sudden you get, you know, 50, 60 people sat in there watching, and there's a bit more going on. It's a bit harder to keep concentration, you know, a few more mistakes coming out. So yeah, it's you know, it's great to have the crowd back, really. You know, you can't, you know, that's what sport is all about. You know, you need fans in there to create the atmosphere. Yeah.
It also spurs you on, doesn't it? I mean, I you know, Lee's played to a decent standard at snooker, and I haven't. 27's my best break. That's all the colours. And that'll be my motto forever, I think. But you know, in football, I used to play to a half reasonable standard at football as a youngster, and you'd only need one man and his dog watching to make you raise your game. It doesn't matter. It wasn't 20 people or 100 or 1,000. It's just the fact somebody's watching made you think, actually, I want to put on a show and want them to see that I'm all right.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, it's you know, it's pride in performance, isn't it? You want to show people that you know you can play, because, you know, unless you're a top 16 name or something, you know, some people that come up to snooker might not know who you are, you know, being ranked further down. So you have a point to prove. You want to show people that you can play. You know, and hopefully start giving you a bit of a following.
Yeah, definitely. And that, you know, and for us, that's exactly what this is about. I mean, this is a chance for us to meet players all around the rankings, and it's really interesting. I think for me and Lee, we realised just how interesting everybody we've met are, and how grounded and how quality people they are. There seems to be a good vibe around the players, really, and quite some common themes, no matter where you are in the rankings, actually, in terms of the mental side of the game. And just that psychological preparation and how hard it is to play to a high standard consistently. That seems to be there for everybody in some ways.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's, for me, that's why snooker is the hardest sport in the world. You know, you know, I played a lot of sports when I was younger. I was good at a lot of sports, but technically and mentally, you know, I don't think anything comes close to this sport. You know, you've got to play so much to keep to a top level. You can't take your foot off the gas. And, you know, the mental side of it as well, you know, you're on your own out there. You know, there's no coaches. You know, I suppose the tennis players are like that as well. But, you know, and obviously physically that's a lot more, it's a lot, you know, a lot more testing than what snooker is. But, you know, there's so much to the game of snooker. You know, I don't think you know, very few players will go, you know, I conquered that. you know, it's there's just too much to it.
Yeah, when you think that the balls are still and they're just waiting for you to pot them, you think that would be easy, but you've got a lot of time to speak yourself out of things and speak yourself out of pots. It's so mental. It's such a difficult game.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, if you you know, you see people miss pots. Oh, I've missed loads of pots. You know, and you think, wow, you know, you set that in the club. How on earth can you miss that? And it's, you know, if your mind's not right, you know, if you're not talking to yourself in the right way, you know, building yourself, you know, putting positive stuff in your mind, you know, you can miss anything in this game, you know, absolutely anything. You know, you get in a situation you think, well, you can't fail here to make 50. You know what I mean? The balls just sit, you can't, you know, all of a sudden, you know, 9, you're in trouble. You think, well,
yeah,
that's only in your head. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's good professionals. That can only be in your head.
Yeah, you can tend to look for problems. You know, if you're not feeling top of your game, you're looking for problems instead of looking for solutions, if you like.
Absolutely. I've been massively guilty of that. You know, it's been one of my problems, actually. To be fair, you know, when I'm not feeling confident, you know, I get in and I lose my fluency and, you know, start trying to be too careful and see problems instead of, you know, you know, problems that are not there sometimes, you know.
Michael and myself were speaking before you came on, and we touched on the fact that you made the semi-finals of the shootout, and obviously you've got to play a bit quicker in the shootout. Do you think being forced to play as quick helped you?
No, not really. No? Not really. Listen, the shootout, anyone can get far in the shootout. It's just because it's not snooker. Let's be honest about it. It's not snooker. You play shots at the shootout you'd never play in a million years in a normal frame of snooker. Okay, it's just about keeping your. For me, the shootout is about keeping your emotions in check. Trying to play the first shot that you see, if it's possible. You know, sometimes you're in trouble and you ain't really got a shot, and you've got to play a bit of a hit and hope and get lucky. You know, in a normal snooker frame, that wouldn't happen. You got a bit of time to think your way out of it. But what it does is it makes you. What's good for me is when I get in the balls in the shootout, it makes me get around the table quicker. And I've watched myself back quite a few times, and I think, yeah, you know, I'm a bit slow walking around the table, and I don't feel that when I'm at the table. But it's only when I watch myself back and I think, yeah, you know, come on, you could get around the table a bit quicker there, and that, you know, that could solve half your problems.
Yeah.
So it's like it's. Yeah, I'm not conscious of it, but I am, or I have been, to be fair, for about 18 months trying to quicken myself up a little bit, and it has been happening. Obviously, I still have the odd match where I get stuck in my old ways and sometimes get a little bit lost in indecision in games, right? But I don't think it's an overnight progression that you can't just go from playing 32 seconds a shot down to playing 25 seconds a shot. It's not. Yeah. You know what I mean? And yeah. There's too much made of it for me. You know what I mean? Someone who's 29.7 on the average shot time list, he's sound. He's not a problem. You're 30.3. You know, you're absolute tosser.
Just because you're over that 30 seconds mark.
Yeah, but it is. But I mean, like, we laugh about it, but you know, it's quite funny. I see new people right on tour, and they half don't like you before they've even met you.
Oh, really?
Just because you play above, yeah. And they can't wait to slag you. And you think, well, hold on a minute, mate. I said, you know, come and have a pint with me at the bar, and then still think I'm
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's I think too much is made of it. There's 4 or 5 of us maybe that have been too slow in the past, but it doesn't help us. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It isn't. But you can't change things overnight. If you've got 4 players out of 128, is there really a problem with slow play? No, as long as you know, none of us are doing it deliberately.
No.
You know, I think it's happened in the past where people have deliberately played slow. Some of the older school and whatever have deliberately done it against younger people, you know, to test them. But you know, none of us on tour are doing that on purpose. Not a chance.
But,
There's too much at stake. And it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. You know,
No.
you could see that in my game against Maguire. I was
Yeah.
playing a bit slow. It didn't help me one bit. You know, so it's not.
But on the flip side to playing slow, you know, a very quick player would struggle to slow down a bit. They'd probably try and slow down, but they would struggle on the flip side.
Well, I said that to my mate the other day. I said, I'll tell you what, all these lads like Ronnie and all that, just say you can't play, you know, you have to be above 25 seconds a shot to play and see how you get on.
Yeah.
Right? Why do we, the way I look at it is, why do we have to play at your tempo to suit you? Now, we take a bit of stick. You know, I'm actually, if you look at my average shot times, they have actually got better over the last 2 years. You know, so I am going in the right direction. I'm not silly. I know I have the odd match where I'm still down at 33, you know, and I think, come on, you know. But sometimes it can't be helped. You're in a bit of a tactical situation. No breaks are going in. You know what I mean? If I'm at 33 seconds a shot in a best of 7 and I've made 3 70s and a 50, there's something wrong there. I would totally admit that there would be something totally wrong about that, you know. Yeah. But that's never going to happen. If, you know, at the same time, if I think I could play a best of 7 and I don't make any breaks and it's a bit scrappy, there's no way I'm going to be down at 22 seconds a shot, because I back myself on a tactical side with anyone. I can see shots, you know, I can find solutions to problems. Whereas you get a lot of lads, they stand in the bulk area. Oh my God, I'm in a bit of trouble here. Not sure what to do. 3 or 4 seconds. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll deep screw that one down the cushion and get myself back into bulk. That just seems to be the norm now. Someone deep screw. The problem is you lose control of the balls, right? And then a ball comes up over the middle pocket or over one of the bulk corner pocket, and all of a sudden, oh, the world's all against them. They're unlucky, and you think, you're not unlucky. You're not unlucky. You've just smashed the balls everywhere, because you can't see a safety shot.
Yeah, played the wrong shot.
You know what I mean? You play a snooker shot. How about play a snooker shot?
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. Some of the times there is no option but a deep screw to bulk, but it just seems to be a bit of the norm now. I'm in a bit of trouble. There's all this thing about average shot time. I better just get the white back to bulk. Better just do that. Let's just deep screw this one in. Balls go crashing everywhere. They leave one over the hole, think they're unlucky, and you think, I think so, mate. There was a shot. You could have come off 2 cushions and rested on that red, actually, if you wanted to. But
exactly. And I suppose with the conditions being as they are on the TV tables and on tour, it's easier to play that shot, the screw back to ball. You know, if we're in trouble at the club, we're not doing that.
Not a chance, mate. Not a chance. There's no deep screws happening in the club. But yeah, the tables are lively. The tables are very lively, right? So that shot, even for people with not a lot of cue power, you know, that shot's on.
Yeah.
But I go back to it. It's not, you know, clever snooker players don't play it that much.
That's right.
It's a last resort, because unless you pot the ball, you're hammering it into the jaws. Sometimes you don't hit the jaws. You can go absolutely anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So you're chancing your arm to luck. You know, for me.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of times you see a ball come back into bulk, and even if you don't leave it on, they've got an easy stun snooker in behind the brown or something. You're plumb in trouble again. You think, well, you know, if you'd have just took that minute at the start of that, you'd have found the right shot there, and you wouldn't be in this trouble.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah.
So I guess you kind of covered it in a way, but I'm going to address it directly. It's the elephant in the room, and you knew this was coming. But so how did you feel reading it and hearing the comments from Stephen Maguire after that match then? I mean, where did it leave you in terms of, well, I'm sure it's probably a lot of things you thought, but what was your response to that, or now that you've had a bit of time after it?
You know what? I wasn't bad, right? I've took a bit of stick over the years, and when I was a bit less experienced, I would let it get to me. But I'm listening to someone like Stephen, who I massively respect, right? He's a tremendous snooker player. And to be honest with you, I read the article, and then I think, right, I'll read this back and let me just read what's quoted from him, because a lot of it can be written in a certain way and stuff, right? So I thought, let me just read back the quotes. And I actually took a lot of positive stuff from it because, you know, he was right. At 2-1, I had a chance in the balls where I really should have made 60 and I broke down on, you know, maybe 60, 70 and I broke down on 40. I got caught out, really. I overscrewed a black. You know, the conditions caught me out a little bit, but when I watch it back, I was looking for problems, not solutions.
Right.
Okay, so, and what he actually said, which he doesn't say a lot about a lot of people, is you know, he said I was a good snooker player. He said I was a great lad off the table. He doesn't really say that about a lot of people. I can tell you that, right?
Yeah.
And the way I took it is he was indirectly giving me a bit of advice to say, look, if you do speed up a bit and stop looking for these problems, you're going to be a much better player. Yeah. So, you know, I've chosen to take positives from it, to be honest with you. You know, you know, if I can't take, you know, at the same time, I'm not going to play at his tempo just to suit him. I'm still going to play my game. You know what I mean? I'm going to play, you know, I'm not going to play at 22 seconds a shot to suit you. I know he said he doesn't ever want to see me in the draw again. Oh, lovely jubbly, you know. That suits me the next time I play him. But that suits me the next time I play him because already in his head, he doesn't want to play me.
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
But I tell you now, he's much better off playing me the way I played the other day at 36 seconds a shot than if I speed up and I'm down at 27, 28 seconds a shot full of confidence.
Yeah.
Because he'll have a harder game.
Exactly.
He'll have a harder game, I can promise you that. But yeah, listen, no, Stevie's a great lad and I've got no issues with him whatsoever, you know. And you've got to realise as well, the camera's put, you know, someone's interviewing 2 minutes after a game. I could see he was boiling. But to be honest, he threw me off a bit because he was playing a lot slower than he normally does.
Right.
You know, he was walking around the table a lot slower. Yeah, and you could see he was trying to keep hold of his emotion, but from an early stage in the match. So he must have had something in his head about me before we went out on the table. So,
but then I suppose that's your job to trample all over that, you know.
Yeah, of course
take advantage of that.
Of course it is. Listen, you can't tell anyone how to play the game, right? I know I need to speed up a little bit, right? That's not a problem. But for the rest of it, right, you can't dictate to people. That's like Liverpool saying to Burnley at the weekend when they come to Anfield, you know, listen, you're not allowed to just sit there with 10 men. You've got to come out. 6 of your players have got to go past the halfway line and start pressing and blah. It's absolutely nonsense. Do you know what I mean? Burnley are not as good as Liverpool. They can play however they want to get a result. I'm not as good as Stephen. I can play how I want. Now, I wasn't playing deliberately slow out there. I can promise you that. I've never done that in my life. But I'm going to make it difficult for him. You know what I mean? I don't want him just to leave him long reds and so he can knock one in and make 80 and make life easy for him. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? You know what I mean?
So in a way, when you say you're aiming to speed up a bit, it sounds like it's more that you know you'll be better, more fluent. That'll be a sign that your confidence is there, as opposed to there's an expectation to get this side of the 30 seconds a shot.
Listen, it's not a number. It's not the 30 seconds. It's not. That's not in my head. I just know if I pick the pace up a little bit, I'm showing more confidence to my opponent, right? Because I've watched a few of my games on where I felt really good. And I've watched myself back and I'm thinking, cool, you don't look confident here, which is totally different to how I felt when I was at the table. So, I'm not stupid. I'm trying to progress. So if there's an area there where I think I can improve that will make me better, you know, that's what I'm going to try and do. But this has not been a thing that's been happening for 5 minutes. I've been trying for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, a lot of my games are below 30 seconds a shot now, which, you know, it's just a number, but, you know, I still do have a few that are over 30 seconds, but lots of players do, mate. Lots of players have matches, the odd match where they're over 30 seconds a shot, but nothing said about them because they're not on the radar. You know what I mean? Because a couple of us are on the radar, you know, people are looking for it rather than, you know, they'll click on live scores and think, they're not looking at the score, they think, oh, what's he playing at today? I mean, you know what I mean? It's absolute nonsense.
You're just trying to win.
It's absolute nonsense. And just, but they, you know, they think you're doing it for gamesmanship. You know, come and have a practice game with me. I'm pretty much the same in practice. I have to tell myself in practice. You know what I mean? I'm not playing at 22 seconds a shot in practice and then going to a match and playing at 35 seconds a shot. That's not. You can ask any of my practice partners.
We did get a question. We did get a question on that from Kelly Barker. Kelly's one of the kind of the super fans, really, always see at the Crucible, and she asked that question. Really, she said, "Are you a natural?" And I'm not sure how you. She said, "Is Martin a naturally methodical player in practice, and does the game come easier and more free flowing when not in the pressure of a match situation?" So I guess she was wondering whether you find it easier to get that flow in practice, but actually, it's a bit like you said about the the heat, the lights, the situation. Is that part of what's changing, your natural game to maybe what you've seen sometimes?
Yeah, no, look, that's a great question, and there's a few elements to it. So unfortunately, fans weren't there last year, right? But a lot of the people I played would probably tell you, well, you weren't slow today, So I was playing. So I have been addressing that. But when I look back on my life as a snooker player, I think a lot of it stems from when I was young. So when I finished school, I managed to get some free practice in my local club, and Martin Gould was practicing there. Okay, and he's a few years older than me, so he was at a much better level than I had. I had only a couple of centuries at the time. He was making 5-6 a day sort of thing, and we would play for 7-8 hours a day, and he would batter me like 28-1. 28-2, things like that for a long time. So in the end, I had to learn to try and play safe and stay in frames longer than I was doing. You know what I mean? And I was playing him 6 days a week. And when I look back, unfortunately, the club wouldn't. When I first started it, I was only allowed free practice if I played with him, sort of thing. So it was a great apprenticeship. But really, what I needed was 3 days on my own, or a couple of days on my own, then another day against someone of my own ability, and then 3 days with Martin would have been great. But for 2 years I got battered and battered and battered and battered, and I think I became conservative in them couple of years. Right. And then when I left that club and I went to a club in Wembley called the Fairview, which is a great club, I played with Alfie Burden, and it was the same. He was a seasoned pro at the time. Okay, I wasn't getting bad 25-1, but I still wasn't taking any sets off him. So you're getting beat. These lads are just scoring and scoring and scoring. So in them years, I wasn't getting much time to be scoring myself. But what I was learning was the tactical side of it, to make life difficult for them. Right. So I became very good at making life difficult for them, and then I was getting more chances. And then I starting to take them a little bit more. Obviously, I was playing junior tournaments, so I was going away and stuff like that. So when I look back, I think whilst it was great for me, them few years playing them, it's priceless to have good players like that to bring you up. I didn't have enough time to do solo practice, and I didn't have enough time to place a few lads of my own ability where what I was learning against them, I could then put that into practice against them, and and then create a gap between me and them in a short, because you would do. So so I think from the ages of sort of 15 to 17, 18, I kind of got scarred, if you like, on the practice table. Probably scarred is a good word for it, and I think it's taken me a long time to get out of that. And then even now, sometimes you still go back to that a little bit, that trying to be careful Christian sort of thing, just trying to manage, but you can't, so I know I need to be more aggressive, which I have been more aggressive the last few years. My work with Ian McCulloch is, he's made me a lot more aggressive than I was before. And I've still got some, there's still plenty of room for improvement and to develop that side a little bit more as well.
You're always interested in that, Lee, aren't you, in terms of how players practice and almost how you pick partners as well, if indeed that's what you do.
How is it for you, Martin? Do you prefer solo, or do you like to play matches, or a bit of both?
I like a bit of both. I like a bit of both these days because, like I say, I had, when I was young, I didn't do any solo practice really. I just was playing the lads every day. So I like the solo to be able to work on parts of my game and, things like that. But yeah, I enjoy the practice matches as well. So ideally for me, I'd split it 50-50 if I could. I'd have 3 days on my own 3-day games. Once you get into the middle of the season sort of thing, it's hard to do that. You kind of do a little bit more solo than you do games because you're sharp, and some of them are, Chloe Stuart Bingham and stuff. So sometimes you come back from a tournament, he's still into the last stages, so he's not about, and then he's going to want a few days off afterwards, and so you can't always get loads of games with them lads, in the middle of the season. But yeah, I kind of like to go a bit 50-50.
Yeah.
And you said a little way back there, Martin, that you were quite, you were involved in a lot of sports when you were younger. So what made you take that step to pursue snooker particularly?
I don't know. I was quite shy when I was younger, so kind of. I used to play for Wycombe Wanderers football.
Oh wow, really?
But yeah, I got spotted for them when I was 11 and a half. I think I was 11 and a half. And then they dropped me when I was nearly 14. And I lost all my confidence then.
Yeah.
When they let me go, because I lost all my confidence in football.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My Sunday team started to go in the next sort of year, and that they started to just, players left, new players came in, weren't very good sort of thing. And I kind of just lost a bit of interest in that. And kind of, didn't, my parents had never been pushy people, even with my snooker, they just let me get on with it. So, if I didn't want to do it anymore, that they've always encouraged me, don't get me wrong. They've always, picked me up when I'm down, but they've never forced me to do anything. So I kind of we've always loved snooker. We've always loved watching it. And I was getting better and better. And then I went to a junior tournament, I think when I was 14 or 15. And my first match, I beat a lad. And I think someone came off the table and said, "Oh, do you know who that is?" And I went, "Well, no, it's my first tournament, not a clue." And he's gone, "Oh, he's top 5 junior in the country," sort of thing. So I thought,
wow.
"Oh, well, hold on a minute. Maybe I'm not too far away here."
Yeah.
So I just started, and as I started getting better, I just fell in love with the game really, and it kind of suited me. I just, was a little bit shy, and I thought, snooker all play. I don't know, the game fascinated me. It's just fell in love with it.
Yeah, and you're a father now, aren't you? So you've got what's the name of your young'un? If you don't mind telling us.
So Thomas. Yeah, he's just over 8 months old now, and my eldest is Charlie, so he'll be 4 in November. So God, don't know where that's
lovely. Has that done anything? Has that changed anything in your game or how you approach the game and in your life generally, being a dad now in the last few years?
Yeah, it changes your life massively. Kids change your life massively, because all of a sudden you're not just doing it for yourself anymore. You're doing it for them. You need to provide for them. There's you can't feel sorry for yourself, and even if you're having a rough time with things, they're just they're the best thing that's ever happened to me, my kids, to be honest with you. They've given me a really good perspective in life. You come back from a tournament, prime example, like the Maguire game, came back, didn't feel great, should have lost the game, should have won the game, and I didn't even, didn't play anywhere near how I should play. So you're not feeling great, and you come home to your kids, and Charlie's happy as Larry that I'm home. He doesn't have a clue. I've missed 2 blacks off the spot, and he's none the wiser. He just wants to go and kick a ball in the backyard with Daddy, and so it's nice to, that side of things is really nice, because it, it gives you perspective, and you go, don't beat yourself up. You didn't try and miss them balls. You know what I mean? Just try and learn from it. Your kids are very good at picking you up, I tell you.
Definitely. And I guess you, whether that's shown or not, but you went from that game, then you went into the qualifier, the Northern Ireland Open, And a good win there, 4-2 win, Jamie Wilson.
Yeah.
And it's always a good skill to ask people questions just as they take a drink, I always find.
That's all right. No. Yeah, pleased with the win. You know, Jamie's a great young player. He, I tell you, he's going to be a handful in a couple of years, the way he progresses. I played him last season. And I don't know what to say. You know, he's just... I think he's the best young potter I've ever seen.
Really? Wow.
Long ball potter. I mean, he was both times I've played him, he was most comfortable with his hand on the ball cushion, going for a long red.
Mm.
You know,
Wow.
that is where he was most comfortable. And you know, sometimes you get in matches and you think, you know, yeah, go on, go for that, mate. I don't mind you going for that, you know, sort of thing. But with him, I just thought, well, I might as well sit down here because I know it's going in, and it did go in, you know. And I found him really hard work last year when I didn't realise that kind of stuff. But you know, he does miss balls that he shouldn't miss, and he loses the white a little bit, you know. But he's so young. Once that side of the game comes, you know, and he starts controlling the white a little bit more, and he's, you know, not missing these balls, he's going to be a real handful because you know he creates so many chances for himself. You know what I mean? He's potting long balls that most lads on tour don't go for. You know, and he's, you know, and the thing about him is he's not smashing them in. You know, he's cueing them in nicely. You know what I mean? He's got a nice long sweeping cue action, and he just hits the ball really nice. And you know, he's probably finding it a bit tough mentally because he's a young kid. He probably got beat up a little bit last year from lads who are seasoned pros and experienced and know how to tie him up and make life a bit difficult for him. So, you know, probably as a young lad, he hasn't won many games. He's probably suffering. But I think after this 2 years, he'll have learned a lot. He'll be able to regroup. And I'm not writing him off. You know, he might stay on this season. You know, he'll definitely create chances for himself to stay on. I can tell you that, because his long ball game is unbelievable. It's honestly, it's unbelievable, his long ball game. But you know, I think he needs to take the golf term. You know, that driving for show, putting for dough. If he took that, if he takes that now into his snooker, and you know, because he doesn't need to work on his long game. So, you know, if he was in the club doing long balls for 2 hours, I'd be a bit disappointed. But you know, if he can up his game in the other parts of it, you know, he's going to be a handful. He's got a great future, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really, really kind words. A lot of encouragement for him. And, you know, if he sees this or listens to it, then hopefully he'll take some real positives. So very generous of you to say, Martin. But obviously you now can look forward to, you know, the tournament as it comes around and see where you go from there. The funny thing we were saying there about players taking on shots and about slow play, all sorts of things. And we encounter this. It's a bit weird, really. But we only really know each other, me and Lee, through the Snooker 19 PlayStation game. That's how we met, and Lee's a very good, you know, sickeningly he's good at the real game and he's good at the PlayStation game. It's a bit unfair, really. And I'm in the middle there, but I get accused. There's one person who's accused me of slow play on Snooker 19 PlayStation. I think what did he call me? Something like Peter Ebdon and Cliff Foreman's love child or something. It was just a bit. I can see it from a resemblance. I think there's shades of both in there somewhere. But
are we related, Michael?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But I thought about, you know, I know it's a game, but and it's quite realistic though. But I thought about that when you were talking, because for me, when I'm playing a better player, I ain't going to blow them away. I'm not, you know, unless I'm really lucky and get in really nicely, get everything, the pack opens up, and I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to mainly get a best chance if I scrap out of them and we end up on 50 odd each and I try and get them around the colours. That's my best chance of beating some of those players. And I've had draws against really good players. And I've had 3 centuries in the last few months. That's my best that I've done, and I'm getting there. But even then I was kind of thinking, you're responsible for your own game, and if somebody gets wound up because I play the way I do, well, that's their problem. It's not really mine. That's the only way I'm going to get anywhere with this. And there's a parallel, isn't there? I know it's not the same, but there's a parallel.
No, exactly that, Michael. You're totally right, mate. listen, it's up to them to deal with it. It's if they don't like how you play, sod 'em, mate. That's up to them. They've got to learn that, and it's very much like that in snooker. Listen, a lot of people don't like the way Selby plays, right? But I don't understand it. You know, the guy's a phenomenal long ball potter. He scores like a machine, which no one gives him credit for, right? And he'll out-granite anyone else. You know, he's just, you know, he's the perfect all-round player in my situation. But you're never going to please everyone. You're going to have people. It's a bit like the tennis, right? You got Djokovic fans who like the endurance and the, you know, he's just like a human wall at the back of the court. And then some people prefer the genius of Federer, you know, and people like that. It's just, you can't please everyone, right? So why even try? Why even bother?
But I mean, at the end of the day,
you just got Michael. Listen, forget Lee, right? He's screaming about your slow play. You just take care of your own business, mate, and you know.
Well, I'm good. Anyone ever says anything again, I'm going to say Martin O'Donnell says it's fine, so you can sod off. There you go. How have you seen the game? Obviously, you've got a likeness in the game, and you play in it. So, I mean, that's obviously something that's probably under the World Snooker Tour licensing, branding, or whatever. But did you have any say in that? I guess you just get told to turn up and get your photos.
Yeah, no, didn't get any say in it, sort of thing. You just turn up. You know, there's a Snooker 19 game coming out. You know, you've got to do a photo shoot for it. You know, you've got, you know, front on side profiles and stuff, and that's it. You know, and I'm pretty sure if you didn't turn up for your photos, you'd have been under disciplinary. So yeah. Wow. But I actually haven't played the game myself. I believe it or not, I don't have a console, so I'm just waiting for Charlie to get another couple of years older, so I've got it. I can say to the missus, look, it's not just for me, it's, you know, you know, Charlie wants to play on it. So I'm looking forward to getting a PlayStation or an Xbox probably in a couple of years, but at the moment I just don't have time to play, which is a shame because I loved them as a kid. You know, I could sit on the Xbox for hours, but yeah, so I'm hoping.
But that's pretty cool though, because when Charlie gets older and you show him that, you can surprise him. You can go, oh, let's just have a look through the players here. Let's just have a look. There's your daddy. There's your dad.
It's very cool.
I know, yeah. That would be nice. Yeah, that will be nice. So,
you know what, Michael? Next time I play you, I'm going to play as Martin O'Donnell just to give you some of your own.
Oh dear. Do you know what? I'm not actually. I don't think I am that slow. I think, you know, they do on the tournament, the online tournaments, it tracks it, doesn't it? I'm 26 to 27 seconds.
Yeah.
Wow, that's slow.
What?
Listen, I don't think I'm that slow. I'm a little bit slow when I'm playing safe. Granted. You know, I'm not slow in the balls.
No,
not generally. Not generally. I'm not generally slow in the ball. So, you know, people can say what they want about slow play. Just
you
know. Listen, if it keeps them up at night, well and good.
I would use it if I was against a quick player who I knew got really annoyed. There's some people who say it on the WhatsApps, and I think if I play you, I'm definitely slowing you down. No problem. No problem.
Okay, but see, you know, if I said something like that, that's gamesmanship. So how does that work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it's a weakness, isn't it? So why, if you know someone's got a weakness, why in any sport, you know, Djokovic is playing this guy. You know, he doesn't like his backhand. You know, he's not very good at his backhand. He's not going to hit it to his forehand all day, is he?
No, but at the same time, I think what you made. Sorry, Martin. What you made really clear, though, certainly from my point of view, and before we met, didn't really know how you'd feel about it. But what came clear to me was that there's a reason why you can be slow at times around your game. But when you're confident, when you're on your uppers, when things are going well, you flow, you're a bit quicker. It's not a deliberate kind of, you know, you're not trying to cause any problems. It's not that you're going out there to say, I'm just going to wind this guy up. So in a way, people have to own their emotions around it, don't they? Because you're not trying to do that. That's just how it's coming across.
No, yeah, exactly. And and that's what I'm saying about that interview with Stephen Maguire, right? Because you've got to see how it's written. Is he actually even said that? You know, he knows that I'm not trying to do that on purpose. You know, that's just how I am. But he, you know, he said, look, you know, it blows his brains. You know, he can't.
Yeah.
He just doesn't enjoy it, sort of thing. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, the snooker world's got to be a little bit careful. There's all this clamour for short frame matches. Everyone wants to play quick, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, if every tournament becomes the same and everyone's playing quickly and everyone, right, snooker will go nowhere, right? Right, you need variety. You need, not just in tournaments, you need variety of players, right? Because styles make fights, as they say, right, in boxing. Okay, so, you know, one of the most fascinating games in snooker is Selby against Ronnie. You know, whenever them two play, it's a contrast in styles, right? That, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, listen, a lot of people never liked watching Mayweather box. Great, you know, because he just runs away. He knows how not to get hit, and people like to see a tear up in boxing. But it's, you know, styles make it. You know, you've got to have different styles of play. If everyone plays, like Judd Trump, and we have a load of best of fives, everyone just go, oh, but it's just the same thing every week.
Yeah.
What's the point? You know, you need to see something a bit different.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal, it's different, but Arsenal in their pomp with Tony Adams as captain were, you know, the joke was about the offside, wasn't it? Putting your arm up, let's hold the offside line. I mean, that's not exciting, but they were one of the most efficient, effective teams of their era. So, you know, you can't really be down on that, can you?
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's where the song 1-0 to the Arsenal came out, because, you know, they never ever scored a second goal. Do you know what I mean? It was 1-0, shut up shop. You know, yes, but you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. It's, you know, you can't dictate how someone plays the game. I don't think. No. Listen, I know it's an entertainment sport. And if there was 50 or 60 of us that are down at 35 seconds a shot, we probably would have to get together collectively and go, look, you know, we might struggle to keep the game going if everything's going to take this long all the time, you know, the formats. You're talking about 2, 3, 4 players. Just get on with it, lads. You know what I mean? Yeah. How about work? You know, how about work on your mental strength? You know, if you play us once, twice a season, just get on with it.
I'm sorry, Martin. I'm getting a mental image of you and a group of players all getting together in a club and going, whoa, that's just under 30. Can you just stop that, please? almost chastising each other and you know, coaching each other to keep it slow. Whoa, guys, just hang on a minute.
I know, yeah. I'll have to tell my missus that, you know, if I'm down at 25 seconds a shot, she's gonna have to tell me to slow down.
I wondered where you were going then.
No, you know, right. Don't be coming back sooner.
Right. Well, look, I mean, we've covered that really well, haven't we? And I think it's really interesting to hear from your own point of view what, you know, your reaction to those comments, and what it's about from your point. I think it's been really rounded. It gives quite a good response, really. We're going to round off with a bit of a quick fire. Me and Leon alternate with a few questions for you, if you don't mind. We'll call it clearing the colours.
Don't you know how I say? I'm not quick fire.
Well, we'll take it at your speed. You can have 30.01 seconds per answer, if you don't mind. So the yellow. In your opinion, who's the funniest player on tour?
Fergal O'Brien.
Fergal O'Brien. I'm not sure if we've had that one yet. If we leave,
not had Fergal.
He is without doubt the best guy on tour, bar none. And there's a lot of good guys on tour that, you know, he is absolutely different class. You just, it's just not boring, mate. You know, you spend 10 minutes in his company, you just don't want to go anywhere. He's a funny guy. Funny guy.
Well, nice one. It's over to you, Lee. I've got to point out that was very, very quick. Quite disappointed.
So Martin, your green ball question, what's your favourite venue outside the Crucible?
Well, that's a bit nasty because I haven't played at Crucible, so I can't have that as my favourite venue. I would have to say it's a toss-up between the York, the Barbican in the main arena. You know, I was lucky enough to get to the quarterfinals there one year. So in the 2-table setup, that was just unbelievable. But outside that would be the German Masters, the Tempodrome in Berlin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's open. You can see so many tables. Yeah,
I played there the first year I got on tour, actually, and I've not been back since, which is a bit frustrating. But I mean, it's just a wonderful, wonderful place, you know.
Yeah.
And I stayed. Actually, I got beat right to Mark Williams there, but I booked the trip and I stayed till the Saturday. And I saw the 1-table setup there and the intros and stuff. And I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. That Tempodrome, 1-table setup, 2,000 Germans in there screaming. There is nothing like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a dream, isn't it? Okay, well, these are going down nicely so far, the yellow and green. So the brown, out of players who haven't yet won the world title, who do you think will be the next one to do it for the first time?
Oh, Christ almighty.
Could be him.
Christ almighty. Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Kyron Wilson. I'm going to say Kyron Wilson. That guy he's got huge heart, huge desire. You know, he's got the game. Yeah, I think he might be the next one who's not won it to win it. It's a tough one, you know. I think he's got the mental strength as well.
I think he's come out.
You just need
everything the most.
You just need everything. You just. I would say. I would say Kyron.
Yeah. Great.
But it could be. It could be a Chinese. It could be a Chinese lad.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, they've upped their game. They've upped their game seriously in the last 18 months. Some of the Chinese, they're serious players. So, but no, I'm going to plug for Kyron.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with Kyron.
Yeah, blue ball question then. I always find this quite a tough question. So it's a thin cut blue, this one. You're tight in the cushion. So which actor would you get to play you in a film of your life?
In a film of my life.
You can play safe in this blue. Don't have to go.
Which actor? I think I'll go for Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. Good choice. We've not had Cillian before.
No.
Yeah, I think I'd go for him. Well, actually, no. What's the name of the other geezer in that? No, Tom Hardy. I'd go for Tom Hardy. Let me change. I'd go for Tom Hardy.
There we go. I think we've got that registered there, haven't we, Lee? Did the blue go?
The blue, and off the knuckle. Perfect.
See, listen, typical indecision by me there, wasn't it? See what I mean?
I thought you were going to play safe.
The blue's in. Don't worry, it's in. That's the main thing. The pink then. So you've covered a bit about your own personal, and you know, you might have said it already with the Wycombe Wanderers link. But is there any interesting personal facts about you that people may not know?
Personal facts about me.
I think for Michael Holt, it was that he spoke Spanish. That was his one. What else have we had? God.
You wouldn't know about me. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the football one might be one of it. I am learning Polish actually, but I can't.
No, that's a good one.
Yeah. I can't say that. I can't say that I can speak Polish. I know words and stuff and a few small phrases. Obviously, my missus is Polish, you see, so it gets tricky to talk to her family when we go over there.
which has its advantages and disadvantages, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I know under the under World Snooker at the moment, I'm down as English or whatever, but my parents are Irish, and I am going to look to change that.
Oh, that's interesting.
My nationality to Irish.
Yeah.
Because I've always, I've always wanted, even if I'd have done well at football and stuff, I'd have plumped for Ireland over England.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Was that both parents then, Martin?
Yeah, both parents. Yeah, my mum and dad are both Irish. Yeah, but they brought me up over here, and then the rest of my family. So no, I do like a pint of Guinness.
No, you're not alone.
Or 5.
Do you drink them slowly or fast? No, let's carry on. Let's not stop. Let's stop doing that. And then so that's the pink then. So Lee, you've got the match ball.
What? Match ball, yeah. If you wrote an autobiography, Martin, what would you call it?
A test of time.
That was quick.
All right.
Well, it's going. It's going with the theme, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. So. Perfect.
Dispatched with no problems. So yeah, the colours are down, and you made light work of it, really.
Thank you.
So yeah, great, Martin. I mean, I think all that remains to be said really is that again, just really grateful for your time and spending with us and your honesty, and really wish you well for this season. You know, it's good that you're through to the Northern Ireland, and we'll watch your season with interest for sure.
No, brilliant. No, thanks, lads. It's been a pleasure to come on and have a good chat and a bit of a giggle, and hopefully people can see a different side to me than 32 seconds of shy.
Yeah, thanks very much for your time, Martin. You've been very generous, and you gave us a great insight into life and tour as well. So I wish you all the very best for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Thanks very much. Have a good one.